But first, Florida is a great place for art lovers to be in December when Art Basel Miami hosts a huge range of exhibitions and events. This year, the spotlight is on Berlin's art scene. Palms instead of snow. Helmut Schuster from Berlin is in Miami Beach. But he's not here for the weather, he's an art dealer. And in the winter, Miami is where the art world gathers. In some places, the city itself is a work of art.
This is the world-famous Ocean Drive. It is the backdrop for so many photo shoots. When you look at Vogue or other glossy magazines, you always see these buildings. But somehow it's a cliché. If you live here in Miami, you don't actually come here very often.
But here we are, at the opening of an exhibition in the Museum of Contemporary Art. The Overture to Art Week. It's a meeting place for high society. Helmut Schuster has come to see the star of the evening, the Berlin artist Jonathan Meese, in his training suit as usual. This is his first solo exhibition in the United States.
Art is the currency of the future. Money has to be abolished someday. Money has to be abolished and replaced with art. Art is the currency of the future, and that's why it's okay that we have crises. Because art is crisis-proof. Art is the future. The future knows no crisis. It comes one way or the other.
Meese's work is certainly not facing a crisis. It sells well all over the world and has been doing so for years. His wild, expressionistic figures are full of historical and mythological allusions. Americans find it wonderfully German and typical of Berlin, which means really trendy.
This has been developing over the last few years, and it's part of this ongoing investigation that we have into the very interesting German scene. In fact, it's not just artists who are German, who are living in Germany that we're showing, but artists who are living in Berlin who happen to be either Albanian or English or other nationalities. Everyone seems to be living in Berlin.
Not many German artists make it into American museums. Meese is one of the few to be so honored.
Yes.
Later, we go to the Miami branch of the renowned Parisian Galerie Perrotin. Here, artists, models, and patrons hobnob over a glass of champagne. Did someone say something about a crisis? But what looks like fun is also business. The art market is tough. Every contact is a potential customer. The whole city is in the throes of Art Basel Miami Beach, the most important art fair in the United States. Schuster attends the opening, even though he no longer exhibits here himself. After 2 relatively difficult years, Art Basel is picking up steam again. With 250 galleries from 29 countries, the organizers are pleased.
In 2009, there were some galleries that would have liked to have been here but just couldn't take the financial risk, whereas this year, those galleries all came back. And what we have seen is actually a very positive influence in the sense that people realize that now nobody will buy art that's mediocre. So you have to come with the strongest quality, and what we see that reflected in is the quality of the stands, the quality of the presentations. People brought their A game.
The art fair offers everything, classics along with the young rising stars of the art scene. And the collectors are back, those from the US who had vanished from view, many South Americans, and more art lovers from Russia and Asia. But art can be a torment too. How does one stand for a whole day in these shoes? Some works of art make it all worthwhile. For example, this one by the artist Alicia Quade. It sold for €40,000 on the first day of the fair. And that's not all.
We have great success here with Nathan Hilden. Right after the opening, we sold everything. And above all, we sold it to very, very good collections. It's become so international in the meantime. And above all, we work together with collections that have a clear agenda. We don't have the simplest art. We always deal with the same international people, not people who occasionally buy a single picture.
The art fair may be big business, but art's heart beats elsewhere in Miami. Schuster takes us to Wynwood, once a hangout for drug dealers. Later, the artists came, and with them the galleries. The neighborhood is changing dramatically.
People paint here every night. There are people like this guy. He's a local artist. He takes a wall and paints it. Complete anarchy. And then there are the Wynwood walls. This evening it's Kenny Scharf who is working here. It's a real tradition and influences the whole area.
For decades, this district has been home to many Caribbean immigrants. Wynwood has retained its old flair. It still has plenty of small businesses, but industry has moved away. The old warehouses long stood empty. Today, they exhibit artworks. Schuster himself opened a gallery a year ago.
When the art fair is over, there isn't much that's European here. There are 2 galleries from Paris and us, and everything else is Latin American. That's also what the city stands for. But interest is all the greater when Europe is also represented.
Schuster and his gallery have already become an established part of the Miami art scene. He says art brings the city's cultures and classes together. He finds this so fascinating, he's made his first documentary about it. The premiere is, of course, in Miami. The film is a trip through Miami's art scene, as seen by Helmut Schuster. It shows an entirely different facet of the multicultural metropolis, and how art helps overcome many contradictions. Schuster's Miami is a world of its own. Although Art Basel Miami Beach is in its 9th year, this is what the rest of the world usually associates with the city. Berlin night after a day at the fair. Relaxing under an elaborate light installation. The artist duo aids 3D with a multimedia performance. Art from cold, distant Berlin makes quite a splash in subtropical southern Florida. But Helmut Schuster says deep down, the 2 cities are kindred spirits.
There is a very strong connection. Both cities want something. Both are young, both are creative, and many things are possible both here and in Berlin. My heart beats in Berlin. I think it is always wonderful here and I really like it. But to be honest, it's good to get back.
The climates of the 2 cities couldn't be more different. But in the world of art, they complement each other. Berlin produces art and Miami sells it.